No-show rates. That's a huge problem for a lot of agency owners. In this video today, I'm going to give you a glimpse or a peek into what I do at Purple Fire and how we fix no-show rates from my mentorship students. It's a big one out there because a lot of people are trying to launch ads, trying to do different funnels, and they're just dealing with poor quality leads or people that are just not motivated and not really showing up. So I'm going to share my screen and I will show you a few things that I highlighted today in this video. But if you want a full breakdown, more than an hour of content and just like really step-by-step guides, that's totally outside the scope of this video. If you want that, you go to the link below and you buy the Show Up Rate Masterclass. But anyway, let me take you through some insights that you can implement right now and it will make a huge impact in your agency. So let me share my screen. So I built this framework right here, and this is based on everything I do in Purple Fire. It's also everything I do in my mentorship business. And we are dealing with a few different things, to be honest with you. We're dealing with pre-qualification and framing. We're dealing with pixel conditioning. This is, because we're running ads, we need to get quality people in. And then we're dealing with what we call post-booking framing and motivation. And by far, I would say this is where you can make the biggest impact in getting people to actually show up on your calls. So those are three big things. But the first thing I really want to talk about is if you're running ads right now, let's just go over here, and all you're really doing is you're running ads to a call funnel, right? So you're running your meta ads, you're running straight to your homepage or some kind of page, you're running some kind of ad, and then to a typical VSL to book a call. If you're having just this funnel online, then you might be shooting yourself in the foot because basically you got no way for them to confirm that you're a legit person that know what you're doing and that you actually can do a good job for them. So what you really need to be looking into is launching additional assets that live online. It could be lead magnets, digital products, it could be a community, it could be a webinar, a masterclass, or whatever it might be. You might want to have your social media content locked in and just continuously like post stuff here, which is super important and basically no one is doing. So if you're seeing a high no-show rate, the first thing you can do is just not have just a call funnel, but have lots more assets living on your website, right? If you go to Purple Fire right now, you can also see we got a podcast online, we got a video library of content that you can consume, right? So it shows that we know what we're doing here. Here you can see the first thing. Here you can see a podcast, which I just recently started updating a lot again as well. And just, this is really important, and you don't have it, that's your first big problem you need to fix. I have a masterclass for how to do your marketing, which is on the website as well. You can check it out. And that explains this whole system and how you should go about it. But anyway, back to the issue at hand. So we got the pre-qualification, and the thing you really probably will be doing when you get calls, you're going to be running ads, and you can either do statics or videos. And mainly what you're going to see is if you just run statics, they're going to be less framed, but you're going to have a lower cost per click. If you run a lot of video, the quality is going to be much higher, but your cost per click is also going to be higher, right? So then comes the million-dollar question: should you be running videos? Or should you be running statics? I think you should be doing both, because the algorithm is so intelligent that it understands when it should be deploying and showing the video and when it should show the statics. And imagine to see this one, but then the next video is the next piece of content is a video. Now they're much more like framed and understand your offer, and ultimately they might convert while exposed to this for the second time, but the video was the big game changer. That was what got them to understand that you're legit and you know what you're doing. So that's really important. And of course, then you can, obviously you will run your ads to a lander, and that lander can be like all those funnels that basically want you to have calls as the ultimate purpose. Well, that can be, VSL, sales letter, webinar, masterclass. But what you really will see probably most of the time is that most people run this VSL, so they will have a 5 to 10 minute video in there, and then hopefully they will book a call. You can do other things as well, because what we see is that most people are not really watching the VSL today, so you're not going to get as many people consuming the content, and then the call button is just sitting there empty, no one is clicking on it because they're not framed. So you can try a sales letter as well, which is this long form content where people can scroll. It's really friendly towards people on mobile, because they are often going to be in a space where they cannot have audio on, and also it allows them to consume what they really think is interesting. So I think the sales letter is actually very interesting in this day and time. I also think that having masterclasses and longer format content really has a big purpose, and that's something you should be looking at as well. But besides that, having both, the other thing you can consider is pixel conditioning. We are going to be sending that data back to Meta and Google wherever you run ads. And then what you can really do is you can look at value-based optimization. So you're optimizing based on value of each pipeline stage. I'm going to go way more into detail about that in my master class. You can click the link for that. But you want to set up something like that, and really it's going to help you condition the pixel and only send quality data back to Meta, for example, with a weighted distribution on how it understands each lead, because some leads turn into clients and some leads turn into qualified calls, and we can pass that data back to Meta and get Meta to work much harder to find good leads for us as well. The other thing I really recommend that no one is doing is delay pixel fire until lead has been checked for spam. So basically when someone books a call, it doesn't even trigger conversion. You delay that until you have verified that this lead is legit. Now we have found a way to use AI to automate that, and that's something I also disclose in my masterclass, but it's just a really cool thing that has just like crazy how much value we've gotten out of that. We got way less spam, basically none at this point. And it has really helped us a lot. Now, post-booking framing and motivation is also equally important, if not even more important. The big thing you're going to want to do is you're going to send them to a thank you page right after the book or call. Then there's going to be a video. And then what you really want to do is you want to have a sort of breakout videos and FAQs in there. Those will just be assisting assets that will really help people to answer the most important questions. Those videos could be something like what I have written here. Those would be really nice videos to have on that thank you page that they can consume if they want to. You can also do a written FAQ as well. That will also be fine. You also want to send them a ton of client testimonials. And the reason why we're doing all this is because we want to stimulate their desire to work with us. We want to increase motivation, and we want to make sure they actually come on board and actually join us on a call. So this is extremely important. It cannot be skipped. Really, really need to do this. The other thing we need to do is we need to establish two-way communication. Two-way communication is extremely important. It's probably the biggest game changer if you're not doing anything right now. What you will do is right after the book or call, you will call them within 5 minutes. First you will text them, and 2 minutes later you'll call them, introducing yourself and just making sure that you got all the information and just establishing some kind of context for the call, and making sure you have all their sort of questions answered instantly. You're going to be using a setter to do this, so you don't have a setter. This could be really huge. You can get a setter to work on commission. You can get a setter to work for about $1,000 to $1,500 a month plus commission. Some of them will work purely in commissions. There's a lot of different structures you can do this, but I always set them up to texting instantly right after. I use go high level, and then calling right after that, and then also using WhatsApp and so forth. These are really, really important. You need to build as much trust as possible, and if we establish two-way communication, we just know that we instantly got a much, much higher show-up rate, because now they feel like they know you on a personal level, and they will let you down by not showing up on a call. So we have an actual sort of like automation sequence we use with WhatsApp and text messages. This is also explained a lot more in the master class for show-up rates, and I go through the automations and how to do all that kind of stuff. But basically, besides all these other things, breakout videos and so forth, if you have something where you want to stage at a conference, or you did a huge presentation, a webinar, you can also add that in, because it kind of puts you on a pedestal and make them feel like you really know your stuff. So this is something you can add in here as well. Then finally, what we have here is emailing the content to them, 10 to 12 emails over 3 to 4 days. We have this automation that if they don't open any of the first emails the first 6 days, then we dial it down to less emailing, just to not spam them too much. It's extremely important that the content is relevant for their experience of what they are about to do with you on the call. So those kind of videos you see here would be very helpful, but you can kind of brainstorm. You can use ChatGPT to come up with other content. But as soon as you try to do things that are not valuable, if not extremely valuable, then they will not open the emails and they will flag it as spam. So it's really, really important that you actually look at the open rates and you kill the emails that are not getting a high open rate, because then you basically need to replace it with something that works better. So we're constantly looking at that data and optimizing and trying out new videos and making sure they're as framed and excited and hyped before the call. The final thing, besides a few things down here, but the final thing I want to show in this section here is that the newest and coolest thing you can do is set up an AI flow that hooks up to all the calls that are scheduled, and then basically because we have the URL of their e-commerce store, for example, and other details like that, we can actually, through a very intelligent prompt that can be completely automated using different automation tools, we can send them a teaser, a value email with like specific findings we found on their website that could be instantly implemented. So we're not going to send them like 20 things in a ChatGPT sort of style. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about how many issues we found already, and then we will basically show the first 3, but that we can discuss a lot more of them plus more on the actual call. So this builds a lot of motivation, but also personalizes it a lot, because we will use the AI to actually give us specific findings that, because it will audit their website. So this is really cool, and this I think less than 1% is doing, and it's also something go over in my masterclass as well. Final thing I want to leave you with is that you can also retarget them on YouTube and Meta. So if they book a call, they will be uploaded as a dynamic audience, and that dynamic audience could be everyone that booked a call last 30 days, last 50 days, last 60 days. And that means that the audience changes all the time, and those people that just booked a call basically will be uploaded to an audience, which you will then run a lot of video content for, longer pieces of content online, which could also be this kind of content. Just give them like case studies, give them values, show them results, all that kind of stuff. So they are sort of seeing all that content while they're waiting to be on a call, and also while they're waiting to potentially sign the contract. So in that phase where they're evaluating whether you're the right agency, you want to be constantly in their phase with value and more reasons to work with you. So all that's really important. And of course, on the day of the call, email at the start of the day, potentially at least 1 hour before for sure, email and text message also 15 minutes before the call. Really, really, really important for them to show up. So this is everything you got to do simplified into a shorter video. I know this was like 13 minutes, but I have a masterclass where it's about an hour or more, where I go through everything you need to do in more great detail. For now, this should be enough to get you started at least, and if you want more, you got the link. See ya.